Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Over the last 3 months, I taught a course. The title of the course is Research Methodology for Sustainable Technology Development. It took about 65 hours to get this delivered in real time. And today I will summarize my finding. The background of the course. Myself, I proposed it after a 3-hour-long meeting with the research group. It was just extempo lecture. I had some questions, and while trying to answer those questions, students triggered more questions. So I stood up and ended up talking for 3 hours. And then I realized that it should be converted into a real research methodology course. And it was that time that I would propose this course, and it will be required course for everybody engaged in research. You see, there is this misconception that research is a job. You can just randomly start once you have a degree of any sort. You can start doing research. It turns out there's not a good start. So the course was designed to help think creatively. See, creative thinking is inherent to ilm. Ilm is, if you see Surah Baqarah 151, Allah tells us that this is the teaching or research is a primary job of a prophet, and we don't have prophets now. So it's the job of the most knowledgeable in this regard. And what it does in that verse, the last one says, they will teach you, that the prophets will teach you what you did not know. So to find out things that we do not know needs creative thinking. And so two things, ilm and aql. Now, what is aql? We'll see it. Actually, I did a video on that. It is the ability to understand any subject, starting with Quran in the context of Hadith. That's it. Aql is not a random thing. Your starting point is Quran, and you look at everything in the context of Hadith, how Prophet ﷺ saw it. So that's why from day one, I promised simple thing. I said, I'll be talking about Quran, and I'll be talking about Hadith, and only other thing I will talk about is my own experience. So what does my own experience have to do with anything? Well, look, I published 800 papers, so don't you want to know how I did it? Especially when I'm telling you that I was inspired by Quran and Hadith. So that's all it is. So I did not go out and promise anything that I would do that would save them. It was a very simple exercise. I'll talk about Quran, I'll talk about Hadith, and how I made use of them to create new knowledge. So major outcome right away. And it's good to know what is the bottom line. And this was the bottom line. 5 to 7 students. I had about 30 students enrolled, but truly speaking, about 12 of them were regular. Others were, I did not see them, or I don't know why they registered, but never attended. I got tired of trying to follow up, but bottom line is, out of those 12 students that attended, 5 to 7 of them, I can testify that they are ready to carry on doctoral research. And that's a very big deal because this is far more productive than any other place I have seen. And out of this course came out 6 strategic research projects that were identified, and they all belong to the scope of national defense research. These projects can yield satisfactory results within 2 years of the commencement. So these are not lofty decades of research projects that will continue to generate cost, right? Mainly research companies do research so they can generate funds. That's not what it is. What it is. It is simple. In 2 years, you'll see results. And during that 2 years, whoever was engaged in that research, they would qualify to have a doctoral degree. If completed, they would place Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan as a world leader of these technologies. So that's a very big deal. 60 strategic research projects, and all of them will make Afghanistan world leader. And this is a very big promise, and I have all the confidence by will of Allah, it will be real. These sustainable technologies, and that will expound on this term sustainable, will also have very important application in other areas, including mineral processing, health, communication, civil aviation, safety, agriculture. Practically every aspect you can make use of them. And we'll see how it is applicable to other disciplines. Because it's not just in Afghanistan, the rest of the world, it's very easy to be bogged down. I'll do research just that benefits my department. Like if you are from health, you want to do it in health. But today's world leader in whatever technology we have, it's not the case. For instance, most of the medical discoveries in US came from defense research. One of the most pathetic one is aspartame or radio. These are all CT scan. These are all projects that were funded by the defense ministry, but they got application in medical. Saccharin, aspartame, all the chemicals, even explosive, they ended up with our food or medicine. The course background, I have taught this course for a long time, but this research methodology, it sounds very mundane, and people think that even high school students know how to do research, but that's complete falsehood. It is not research they do. It's something that literally means you collect data and somehow you qualify that as a research. But it's recognized in the West that doctoral students all have to have a research methodology course. First time I taught, that was in US in 1993. And first course had a very big prize. I had a student that I knew from my undergraduate time, and he was actually older. And it happens that he was in a different university, and he contacted my university at that time. And he did not know that I was the same guy. By then, when I was like university student in, I think, second year, and he was working as a geologist. So I knew him, but he did not know me. So he contacted the department and they said, no, Dr. Islam has all the money, so talk to him. So he left a message for me. So I called him back because I saw his file, I recognized who it was. And then I said, do you recognize me? He said, no. Then I said, are you this guy from before? He said, yes. How do you know? He said, I'm Rafiq, meaning I was the guy. And he just paid from his guy. So he was so happy that he has an opportunity because he was struggling in his previous university and they were about to kick him out. So I gave him full funding. He came over and he took that course. It turned out within 2 years, he finished his PhD. He got a faculty position right away and he got national award. First time it came to that university, actually first time it came to that region altogether. So there is my first product. It also led to, from the same course, led to a National Science Foundation. If you are familiar with that, it's very hard for engineering people to get, professors to get NSF funding. Very hard. They usually give their award to very renowned science professors, not engineering. Anyway, I got the grant of $200,000. It was the first one for the department. In the department history, nobody got NSF grant. After that, I moved to United Arab Emirates, but they had no graduate program. So I said, you know what, I would just take undergraduate students and teach them how to do research. 30-some students participated. And from that, I generated $1.7 million research grant. It was the first time Emirate gave the grant to their own country. They were giving out money to Stanford and Princeton or whatever, US universities to research. I convinced them to put the money in there. Out of that, with the involvement of the students, in 1 year, 31 SP papers. If you don't know what SP is, it's the Society of Petroleum Engineers. This is the largest energy-related society and the oldest. And they publish, it's very hard to publish there. You talk to any petroleum engineer, they will tell you the SP is the most distinguished forum. It's very hard. Anyway, 31 papers were written by these people, by these students, undergraduate students, keep in mind. To give you the perspective, in US, I had 5 papers written, and I got the grant award for undergraduate research excellence, meaning I was teaching undergraduate students to do research, and that's a great thing. Only 5 papers came out in 5 years from US. And we had Arabs who are known to be lazy and all this, and spoiled, rich. They published 31 in 1 year. So this phenomenon that we Muslims are weak and we have to learn from the West, these are all BS. Oh, by the way, I forgot, a group of 3 students, they actually went to US and they got the creativity award in a competition. Then I moved to University of Regina. There, I taught the same course, and 4 students out of that, I stayed only 2 years, but that is enough. 4 students emerged as the academic leaders that we would see in future years, subsequent years. One of them followed me around, and she went to my next university. Bottom line, $3 million is the grant. And the framework of PTRC, Petroleum Technology Research Center, was created at that time. It was the first research building that was created with sustainable technology. Keep in mind, at that time, I was not very clear what sustainable sustainable means. We're talking about a long time ago. But it's still, until now, it's considered to be the first research building created with sustainable technology. Also, the very first project that was actually about maybe $40,000, that led to a mega project, CO2 sequestration mega project, Weyburn CO2. You can look it up. It was very big, but it came out from that little endeavor we had. The seed money was only $40,000 or something like that, but it became multi-million-dollar, actually billion-dollar project in the application. Then after 2000, the course title was changed from technology development to sustainable technology development, research methodology of sustainable technology development. During the time, 12 postdocs, 10 PhDs, 9 of them won awards, 42 master students were trained, got a total of $5 million research grant. Each PhD is very unique. Historically, very few PhD students publish their book, their work as a book. But for me, majority of my students had a book to begin with. Sustainable 17, sustainable new technology. This is really unique because when I use sustainable, it's a scientific term. It did not exist in the last 400 years. Ever since Newton, we did not have any sustainable technology, and we had 17 of them in this short period. In 2007 onward, this course was expanded to include every discipline, including law, mathematics, medicine. And you can see in my books, I have covered all this topic, even though I don't have a book on law. I do have a book on mathematics, of course, in medicine, 4 of them, on mathematics and including computer science, 4 others. But on law, if you see my book on education, they actually teach you how to do legal arguments. So I do not have a law book, but I have the foundation of law in education books. And also practically in every book, I have an initial chapter where I teach how to think. And lawyers today don't think, so they can certainly benefit from my book as well. So in this course, we had some 30 students enrolled, as I said. They had zero idea about what constitutes sustainability. They had no idea. They were given projects that were simply engineering design, and they were thinking this is research. So whatever is known in the West by high school students, you talk to even grade 5, grade 6, and high school students, they say, well, yeah, we are all doing research. No, you're not doing research. You're just finding out what is available. And so these students, some of them very bright, as you see, they did not know what is research. Also, very peculiarly, they had zero trust in the establishment. They really did not. In the West, a company hires somebody, they're convinced that the mission of the company matches with the mission of the student or the hired, the employee. It always is the case. That's how we hire people. Here, it was not the case. They had no idea what the vision of the institution was, but they certainly did not have trust. They were like, well, you got a job, so any of them would be paid more money, they would jump at it. And it comes from major fundamental mistrust. And that's quite sad, but that's what it is. It was. They also, it's not only that, they had zero trust in each other. They were kind of suspicious, and they were competing, and they were thinking that, some other people are probably saying bad things about me. It's a major lack of trust. They had zero accountability, meaning you get a job and you're supposed to deliver and you could not deliver. Right away, they have an explanation. They can tell you why they could not do it. But none of them would say, I'm sorry, it's my fault. I take responsibility for it. It was not there. The culture was absent. And they had zero plan for long-term professional growth. In a vulgar way, if you give them a job, even if it is like a bar or a bank that generates interest, they would jump at it because it gives them more money. So they took it. Consider this waste. Research students took their job as a job. Why? Because I have to pay bills. I have to take care of my parents or family or whatever. And that's a very sad status. So what is my task? First thing I promised to myself, I never told anybody, that I'll build character. That's why every course delivery started with the recitation of Quran. I was showing them, I promised you, it will start with Quran, it will be in the context of Hadith, and I'll share my own experience. I held that to be true, and throughout my delivery, my focus was building character. And character comes from the maker of character. Akhlaq is the factory setting. So who made the factory? Who owns the factory? It's Allah. So that's why building character was my primary focus. And then ability to do research. If you have character, then automatically you do research. Because how else would you solve the problem? Initially, they had no notion of having a problem. They were reluctant to have a problem because having a problem is a problem. So, oh, everything's fine. There's nothing to solve. So what problem was it? This is not my problem. It was given to me as a problem. I'm solving it. No problem. Then ability to develop sustainable technologies that are unique. See, any sustainable technology, if it is truly sustainable, it's unique. It doesn't exist. I cannot say enough how important it is to understand that this does not exist since Newton came to place. Everything is unsustainable. And it's known in the West. It's only in the East, only in the third world countries that they have this fantasy that whatever West developed is sustainable. But in reality, West knows very well it's not sustainable. Their Nobel laureates call it technological disaster. It's a train wreck. Yet, Muslims of our people think technologies are all sustainable as long as it's certified by the West. Final qualification I wanted them to have is the ability to teach this course to others. And this is a unique Islamic format. It doesn't give you grade. It gives you confidence of your teacher is reflected in the fact that he thinks you're qualified to teach this course. Teaching methodology, we have as part of the university, we have the motto that derived from Quran, Surah Baqarah 151. I talked about that briefly in the beginning. And that's Quranic verse. And the hadith cure to ignorance is to ask questions. And repeatedly, I told students the value of asking questions. And this is not something Prof. Muhammad said, cure to ignorance is to ask questions, but I formalized it in my education book, Reconstituting the Curriculum. It was 2014 published. You see the last one here, Imar Islam, Gary Zatzman, he passed away last year, and John Islam, he's now assistant professor, youngest one, I believe. But he was 14-year-old at the time. So this, whatever I'm teaching, I have real example. 14-year-old participating in a book that I would claim would revolutionize what? Engineering. So this is the methodology I used. Evaluation of outcomes. How do you know students are getting it? I had no test, I had no exam, and I actually constantly preach that tests and exams are not Islamic criteria. Did Prophet Muhammad ever get a test? Did he ever give a test? He knew the best of his companions. How did he grade them? No exam. So it's common sense. People just don't think about it. So for me, it was the quality of questions they're asking. If they ask real questions, it will remove their ignorance. And it will empower them with the truth. If they ask Bunny-style questions, these are trap questions. They have underlying assumptions that are false. What do? If you ask Bunny-style questions, you fall in the trap, and yourself, you consolidate your ignorance. You become hardcore shaitanic ignorant. Then we had from students guiding questions. For instance, one student got it, another student is still not getting it. So the guiding question comes from another student telling that, oh, look, how would you do this in this circumstance? Then he's, oh, I get it. So it is very powerful. So real questions, very big plus. Guiding question, very big plus. Bunny style question, very big minus. The next criteria for major excellence was their enthusiasm. They're not asking questions to show off. They're not asking questions to trap anybody. They're asking questions really enthusiastically because they want to know. So, my goodness, I was wrong all my life. How do I correct it? Those are real questions. From the level of enthusiasm, you can tell this guy is real and he's going to be a leader in the future. When they answer questions, you can see the enthusiasm. When they follow up with more questions, you can see the level of enthusiasm. This is something intangible. Prophet used to do that. We do not do that in moderns. We just give out the form and it said good, bad, and excellent. It's complete nonsense. There were shortcomings, and it was not the students' fault. It was part of the system. Students had zero incentive. If they attend or not, if they show enthusiasm or not, if they don't like it or not, there's no accountability, no incentive. They do not benefit from it. The course of the course was unclear as they got no clear directive from the administration. Not one day I was introduced. Not one day somebody came from the administration and told them, this is very important. You guys learn this from this professor. Nothing. I was left alone. And then they had no idea what they're supposed to get. So Alhamdulillah, I did that process, and as I showed in the result, they benefited greatly. Myself, I benefited, but it's not because the atmosphere, for whatever reason, it was not there. They had zero research question. In the beginning, I said, if you have any research question related to your project, I'd be very happy to enter in that and would get to working on solving it. But they had none. Nobody had a research project. Each had a non-research task that were consuming them. They're all busy, by the way. Some of them did not even have time to attend the class. They're going to English class. It turned out the English class was held after 3 o'clock. So when they don't have routine duties. For my course, they could not find time. At several occasions, my slot was given to somebody else because somebody else was busy doing some routine work. So even for delivery of the course, even to attend the course, they did not have free time. See, if you send somebody, even in the West, say there is a training course, right? Not research, even training course, you get time off, right? Those days you don't have to go to work. You go to the training center, you have good food during lecture, and you have literally sometimes you have an entertainment to keep them interested. Here is nothing. Not even free time to do the homework or attend the course. They all had a different priority, and they were being pushed by the administrators to make sure that priority is given to something else. But guess what? These shortcomings made the job better. I believe that the outcome is better because they had to struggle. So the true guys showed up, not because they were facilitated by the administration, but because despite the obstacles created. So discussed major outcomes. 5 to 7 students excelled in this course, excelled to the level that I have not seen before. Their future potential exceeds that of my best students in Canada and US. They're capable of pursuing any research question and chalk out an action plan to offer solutions that are both economically and environmentally sustainable. And it's very unique. Nobody on earth can show another group that has this ability. I guarantee that. Why do I know that? Because I'm writing books on them. Nobody has it. If you pick up any of my book, I'll tell you that this book addresses the problem that nobody addressed. So these students should be recognized and be given priority in conduct research from inception to completion. What I mean is give your research questions to these students. Questions, not solutions. Don't tell them they make a drone that China is producing and copy it. That's not research. You tell them my sky has to be protected. What do? They will come up with solutions. And that's my guarantee. And from the beginning, writing proposal to completion, use the same students that know how to do things. These will be your future entrepreneurs and the leaders, such network. In the whole world, these leaders do not exist because there is not another sustainable technology development scheme anywhere in the world, including the United States, environment, China. 6 mega projects that can change the landscape of defense research in the world, not just in this country. 6 mega project came out. Now I showed this in class, and this I'll make the point again. You know, iron bar cost $5, right? Horseshoe made out of the same $5 give you $12 each. Needles made out of the same iron bar, you pay $5, but you make needles, you make $3,500. Watch springs will give you $300,000, 350, whatever. Now, that's with red one. Do you see the red one? The artificial processing. If you convert that into organic or sustainable, you have the upper graph. You see the point? Organic iron bar will be much more precious than $5. Horseshoe would be more precious. Can you imagine going up? Anytime we make something sustainable with natural processing, it becomes much more valuable. This is called value addition. And guess where the value addition is the most? We're talking about tangible value. It's a dollar amount. With Elm. With disinformation, they are selling much more pricey. Disinformation, these are ignorance they are selling. All this AI and all this other stuff. The intelligence, they call it. The biggest prize that Saudi Arabia today is seeking is intelligence cooperation with the US. And Israel holds that intelligence for whole world. And they sell it for big prices to all the tyrant governments. That's disinformation they're selling. So imagine if you could turn that disinformation into information, ignorance into knowledge, how pricey that would be. For every $5 invested, we should have millions of dollars. So there I say that there is no comparison if it's intangible values rather. Now, we discuss what intangible value is in the course, but for your clarity, any project has intangible costs. For instance, you went to war in Iraq, right, or Afghanistan. You killed 1 million people. That's tangible cost right there. But what is the intangible cost? What is the intangible cost of making somebody orphan? What is going on in Gaza? Can you count that? You have to count all the costs, all the way to the day of judgment. That's called intangible. And that's great. The intangible cost of any unsustainable is great fitna. It's minus infinity. That's why it's going down. So if you look at the intangible values, there is no comparison between sustainable and unsustainable. The bottom one is unsustainable. We want to change that to sustainable, the top one. And that's why the value of this program is immeasurable. My commitment to students, whoever brings in his research questions which solve big problems related to any topic, it could be cleaning up Kabul River. I would supervise them to the best of my ability until the project comes to completion, inshallah. That's my commitment. Last time I made such an offer, over 100 students and over 50 professors. I had a lot of collaborators who benefited from these projects. My commitment to administration, I'll help identify problems, devise research questions, and chalk out strategies for every matter of national importance, inshallah. My focus will be long-term solutions, although for each problem, I would offer short-term research opinions. See, I offer both short-term and long-term. I say, this one you should do for next 6 months, and then this other one you should do for the next 10 years. In all these, sustainable development will be the choice of every level of investigation. You don't have to settle for Chinese technology. You don't have to settle for who knows whose technology, Turkish or Bosnian, I don't care. You don't. You have better resource than anybody else. You should do much better. This commitment includes establishment of a research clinic. I call it research clinic because this is where you first go. If you have a problem, you go to the clinic, and clinic tells you this is the long-term solution, this is short-term solution. But come to the clinic first. And also literally a health clinic, because what turned out, people have become very sick. Initially, I used to think it's because of the depleted uranium and who knows what Americans did, which they did, but it's not. It's mainly because the healthcare system is completely messed up. People are totally dependent on toxic chemicals, which means every medicine. They are a lot more harmful than organic wine, which is haram. So I want to help establish a health clinic where Prophet's medicine will be practiced. My recommendations solicit research proposals in strategic areas. I have an Appendix B, which gives how to do that. And the research topic should be broad. It should not be limited to whatever is available. Don't ever tell them that, get this, China is doing this, try to copy it. That's great harm. That's really insanity. It's profane to expect Muslim students to copy Chinese technology or American. We're first one to say, those are kuffar, blah, blah, blah. What are you doing copying them? So don't bother, just tell them what is your problem. Just identify the problem and let them come up with solutions. You'll be amazed what they come up with. Give incentives for research. Nothing should be free. Prophet Muhammad gave the highest value to knowledge. So don't treat them like barbers or hijama person. Give them proper remuneration for their knowledge, not for their skill. There should be weekly research meeting attended by everyone in one meeting. So say Amjad is developing certain technology, Najib is developing another technology. They should be talking to each other. There's no competition in Islam. Competition is not envy-driven. Competition is to excel. So if Najib knows I'm doing better, then Amjad will pick it up and say, wow, subhanAllah, I should do better than that. This is healthy. Don't hide. So research meetings should be attended by everybody. Everybody should talk. Everybody should contribute to solutions. Establish a research clinic. I mentioned about that. Establish a health clinic where Prophet's medicine would be practiced. With that, I will talk about the research projects. Give an idea to gain generate some confidence. Only one man got Nobel Prize twice in physics. It's not Einstein, it's John Bardeen. And what did he do? He realized that this is the best they could have. First one was transistor, and second one was explain superconductivity. None of them turned out to be sustainable. We can do that analysis. I have shown that. But he got 2 Nobel Prizes. So your kids develop sustainable, how many Nobel Prizes should they get? And it's not very difficult. These are all, most important research is done with deductive logic. Did Einstein do the experiment to develop with light theory? No. Did Ibn Haytham do? No. Deductive logic comes first, and deductive logic comes from Quran and Hadith. Literally, the word Quran means collection of deductive logics. Literally, Quran means collection of deductive logics. And you're telling them that, oh, we are behind. How dare you talk about Nobel laureates? If you are fantasizing about engineering projects, and he's correct in this, in 18 months, they will be all done by AI. And why shouldn't they be? Because this is repetitive. Is there any reason for you to spend your time to find out a 9-digit number multiplied by another 9-digit number? Is there any reason that you should do that? No. Could you ever multiply faster than computer? No. So why are you wasting time something that computer can do? Do something computer cannot do. You know what computer cannot do? Think like an alim. Computer cannot think because computer's thinking does not come from Allah. It comes from the maker of the computer. So some idiot do the planning for a computer, and you're believing in the computer, and you're thinking that you can outdo that computer. No, you can't. So most important research questions in defense of Ummah, not just here, all over the world. Number one, how to gain air superiority. There isn't a square kilometer of Muslim land that is not vulnerable to bombing. We talk about Gaza as if Gaza is something deficient. No, your land is just as vulnerable. Number two, how to regain sustainability in science and technology. Nobody knows how to develop sustainable technology. Look it up. Nobody knows. They are not doing sustainable research at all. So if Ummah doesn't do it, who is going to do it? Shaitan is very happy. Nobody is doing it because Ummah is looking at Shaitan, how to do it. And Shaitan doesn't want to do it. We all know that. So this is the next most important question. So turned out real knowledge is not sustainable and nobody's doing it. How many times I have repeated that? Nobody's doing the sustainable research. It's our turn. It's Muslims' turn. The whole world is basking in ignorance and harmful influence of technologies. All of them. It's their own guys, their top guys are saying that technological is technological disaster. Their Pope is saying it's a terrorism against entire humanity. Even Shaitan can see it and we can't. Next, second, third most important question is how to reclaim Muslim natural resources. And this is a very sad state. This is how it looks like now. Control over natural resources, more resources you have, you see, resource volume goes up, down, right? As the resource volume goes up, meaning you have more resource, your control over it goes down. Two extreme examples. Saudi Arabia, the biggest in oil, right? Saudi Arabia has the least control over their natural resources, least. Even Chad, even Ghana, even Benin have better control than Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia knows they will be toppled in 30 seconds if they try to control their own natural resources. See the pathology. Now, what is Afghanistan? Afghanistan is called Saudi Arabia of lithium. And sure enough, Afghanistan is totally dependent on China. I've seen contract with 90% going to China. I have not seen that kind of pathetic contract anywhere in the world. Even Djibouti, even, what is this? Somalia would not do that. But here it is. So how to regain, you have to reclaim Muslim natural resources, because this is a trust for you. Allah did not give you to sell it for $5. So you can buy batteries for $3,000. So that accountability has to come. And you have to say, how do we reclaim? On top, Afghanistan has chromium, copper, gold, iron ore, lead, zinc, marble, precious, semi-precious stones, sulfur, talc. You have all this. Any technology you develop, any of them, you can become world leader tomorrow if you find sustainable way to produce chromium, copper, gold. 5,000 years ago, Afghanistan used to export gold to pharaohs of Egypt. What happened to the technology? Afghanistan was the world leader in making guns. What happened to the technology? Today, if you start to develop guns with organic iron, you're a world leader right there. Lead, zinc, even precious, even gems. You cannot cut your own gems. It's cut in India. How pathetic can it be? You're selling your gem for $5. India is cutting it, right away selling to Dubai or Thailand for $500. India, of all places. Anyway, that complex. Okay, now how to reclaim Muslim superiority? The last question, how to reclaim Muslim superiority in science and technology. We talk about Ibn Haytham. He's the father of modern optics. Ibn Haytham's theory is actually sustainable. Einstein's theory is a fraud. And I've shown that in my books. Now, we talked about my first son in the book, my second son, also at age 14, you see the last one here? Amar Islam, Amy Hossein, my student, AO Islam, that's my son. In the book, a 14-year-old. It's a technology book, right? It's not even an education book, it's a technology book. Same guy, as he grew up, he wrote the first proposal that deconstructs Bose-Einstein theory. Bose-Einstein theory is very important because there are several Nobel Prizes given on it. Bose did not get his Nobel Prize, Einstein surely did, but Bose-Einstein's theory later on got Nobel Prize by others. Yet that was not modified for 100 years. My son, at the age of 19, wrote the proposal that was funded. So if a 15-year-old, a 19-year-old can write a proposal like that, why can't you? They are not different. My son is not a mujahid or son of a mujahid. You should do better. So all this, we identified these 6 projects. Jamming enemy radar and communications, Number 2, use ground-based air defenses, anti-aircraft guns and missiles can be used to shoot down enemy craft. Modeling energy spectrum that I showed. Ultralight super strong engine and other person for unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, and unmanned aircraft systems. Sustainable petroleum fuel, high-powered explosives for different applications. I'm not talking about just copying and pasting current technology. I'm talking about rendering each of them sustainable. Only number 3 does not exist today. That you have to do it. But ultralight, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, all of them exist today, some form, but they are not sustainable. So there's no copy paste here. You cannot copy it. If you are fantasizing about copy pasting, say, mashallah, I know, I graduated from with a PhD, whatever, I know, then you are in delusion. Because each of them needs sustainability. Unsustainable copying and pasting is not research. You do a great research if you're fantasizing about copying and pasting some old materials. So I say all these projects can be completed in 2 years with 12 students qualifying to receive DSC. So 2 each, very easily. Anyway, I'll complete that. The details, more details is in the document that I would make available.